So the saying goes that Whitney Houston is in heaven, and let me think about this. No, I'm a theologian. I'm have a reasonable understanding of the Bible, and I don't think that's possible. You see, during the Middle Ages, the talk was that there was a stage called purgatory, so that when you die, you go to hell, purgatory, and you're being tormented with this and that and so forth. And if you pay up the money right, and if they pray you up and so on, you could move from purgatory to heaven. And that raised a lot of money for the Catholics. They were able to build I think the Vatican, don't take me on that, right? I'm not sure, but I think they built some big structures and had some big savings for that. Everybody wanted the family to go to heaven. And you see, if you're a minister, you're officiating at as a funeral service, nobody wants to hear that a relative going to hell. So you have to avoid that if you're kind of smart, because you can lie to them now. I mean, Whitney Houston, I like her, really liked her. I mean, I wish, I could have put my hand on her and so on. All right? So that I'm saying that, according to the scriptures, it says that it is appointed unto man once to die, and after death, the judgment. And the Bible also says that in Thessalonians that when Christ comes through the clouds, those who are living will not prevent those who are dead from being resurrected, and they both will join and go with Christ in the clouds and go to heaven. So how can you reconcile that the person's in heaven? I recall I went to a funeral when I was in Oakland, California, and the funeral people, it's a business, and they have to make people feel happy and all, and they will encourage people to talk about going to heaven and all that, especially if they're the only ones talking about that. Everybody's going to go there because they want to hear the family going to heaven. And they sing the song, I know where I'm going, and all this kind of stuff. And I say, oh, that's a good piece of psycho they have right there. I know where I'm going, and I'm going to heaven or something like that. But, the Middle Ages, they were kind of, a little off, but they weren't saying you went to heaven. They would say that pray up to heaven, or pray you into heaven. So where's Whitney Houston? Well, the Bible says that when we die, the breath leaves the body, our thoughts perish, and there's no more hatred and no more love in the grave. So in other words, the song is that I will forever love you and so on. Well, it's over. As soon as, that 4 minutes passed when our brain died, that was it. And then subsequently she, died, apart from brain dead, then she stopped breathing completely and the body just died. It's right, and right there. When she's resurrected, she's going to take it from there. Oops! And then, so on. Now, the question too is this, that she had a Christian upbringing, and when she was a teenager, I'm sure she dreamt of, being in heaven and so forth with the Lord. And perhaps, everything was cool in that. Nevertheless, when she hooked up with Bobby Brown, and I'm not sure when she started, but with the lifestyle she lived, can we reasonably say that she's going to be in heaven when the Lord comes, or she's in heaven right now? You see, I'll leave it for another time. Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, they've died under circumstances that were extraordinary. My mom, when she died, and I don't want to get into the family crap, but basically she had been in a condition for a little while. She knew that she was going to die because a variety of things. So she had time to talk to the Lord about, pray about it, sing about it, in her mind, talk to her, confess of her sins, and tell Jesus she loved him and all that stuff. And so when she died, and when she lost consciousness and she died, she was kind of okay. But when you die suddenly like that, especially from a drug-induced anything, I mean, drugism and the drug art activity is kind of evil, okay? And you just can't be smoking a pipe, get a heart attack and die without you having a chance to say, oh Lord, forgive me here. Because you see, it's not only saying forgive me, but when the first time you say it, and I know the Lord doesn't like us repeating things because he thinks that when you talk to him once, it's good, and he's going to take care of business and everything else. So talking about it 100 times it's unnecessary. But the point is this, that you don't feel as if everything is good, and you keep talking about it, so that when had she a chance to say, Lord, forgive me for whatever she has been doing, or if she was high on something, Lord, forgive me for this. And it takes a while, but it seems as if everything was good. She was satisfied where she was, and she went for this little bath and so on, and then she slipped in, and then, without even understanding what happened, she died. Maybe when she woke up, she would have said, Lord, forgive me of this bad thing and help me to do, what I mean? So I'm not sure she's going to make it to heaven. I mean, you think she is going to? I mean, she's a nice person, and as I said, I would like to rest my hand on her, because she used to sing as a young girl, and I was kind of like single in Canada. I used to dream off. I think, I wish if I could get my hand on Whitney Houston here. Maybe she would have been better off if I had put my hand on her, because I wouldn't have introduced her to no drugs and all that alcohol and stuff. She would be straight like an arrow. But then on the other hand, the culture is of such that perhaps to join the little music cult, you have to go and join this little voodoo thing, and then drugs is just one of the things that voodoo people do. See, evil people just want the things to do the drugs, to do the alcohol, to do the other things, and so on and so forth and so forth. So, I mean, personally, I wish that if she could get to heaven. But from the facts we have, and from the way she had been living, celebrating her drug of choice, which is an expensive one, and saying crack is whack, then, I mean, I don't know what we could say here, whether we could expect that she's going to make the heaven or not. But I mean, everybody in the congregation, you can't go say she's on her way to hell. They'll just stone you right there, run up to that pulpit, grab you by your foot, exchange you with Whitney, see what I'm saying? But, that's life, okay?